Hi everyone, this is the fourth episode of my Brain Tumour diary, and today I will talk about all the medications that I was prescribed on the day of my diagnosis. When I received my diagnosis, they prescribed 3 drugs for me. First of all, I received omeprazole, which is a drug to line your belly and bowels, because the main drug that they prescribed, dexamethasone, is a strong steroid, so the more of this you take, the more it will destroy your bowels. So to prevent that, they gave me this drug. I'll be honest, that was a bit odd to me. Why take one drug to lessen the effect of the other drug destroying your body inside? But they explained this dexamethasone reduces the swelling in the brain, and apparently the tumor was swollen up in my brain. So I just took their word for it and I started taking the medication. But the dexamethasone was pretty awful. About, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 days after I started taking it, I started having really bad pain in my joints, in my elbows, my knees, my ankle, basically all over my body, even in my neck. And one morning when I woke up, I felt so terrible, I couldn't actually get out of bed. And I felt like somebody was sawing at my knees and my ankle and my elbows. So I thought, this is just terrible. I'm not gonna take this crap anymore. So I stopped taking the dexamethasone. And basically the next time I met the doctor, I asked him about this. And he said, oh, by the way, you shouldn't even have been taking the dexamethasone. I was like, so why did the nurse even prescribe it in the A&E if it's unnecessary to take it? So he says, well, that must have just been a precaution. So I was there thinking, first of all, I didn't even want to take it because I felt completely fine. I mean, just because they discovered I had a tumor on the MRI, it doesn't mean I desperately need to take steroids because it's swollen. I mean, I was fine. Nobody even asked me how I felt or if I had any seizures or anything. The last time I had any problems was in September 2018 and my MRI was in February 2019, and the immediate reaction was to give me this strong steroid and this other pill, omeprazole, to basically knock out the bad effects of dexamethasone. So I just found it counterintuitive and not logical at all. So, well, I mean, call me whatever you want, but I stopped taking it and it turned out I was right. The doctor said I shouldn't even have started taking it. Then, the moment I stopped taking dexamethasone, there was no need to take this anymore, and I stopped taking it. The awful side effect of dexamethasone is that it makes your bowel bleed, and after 2 weeks of taking it as prescribed, I discovered in the toilet there was blood. So this omeprazole doesn't even do anything. So either you take it or not, or you take the dexamethasone, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to give a disclaimer here. Do not listen to me. You do whatever you want. Always talk to your doctor and nurse. What I'm telling you is my experience here, and I consulted the doctor before I made any decisions. If you decide not to take any drugs or take any drugs, whatever you do, just talk to your GP, your consultant, your nurse, anybody. Don't just listen to me or yourself, because you could be harming yourself by not taking these drugs. But as it turns out, my decision was completely right and backed up by the doctor, and it was 6 months ago, and I haven't taken any dexamethasone in that period, and I'm just fine. Now, the third pill they prescribed was Keppra, or levetiracetam as it is in Latin, and they gave me 250 milligram tablets, and they told me to start at 250 ml and work my way up to 1000 milligrams per day. That will stabilize my seizures. My argument was, again, I have no known seizures. The only 3 times I had any blackouts was overnight when nobody was near me, so nobody can even testify I had any kind of seizures or anything. So I was thinking, why on earth should I be taking Keppra when nobody has any proof that I have had seizures against which I'm supposed to be taking this? So after about 3 weeks of taking it and finding out that the doctor told me I shouldn't even have taken dexamethasone, I started questioning why to even take Keppra. I was reading about the side effects and everything else about Keppra, so I thought, why on earth should I be taking this? I might as well be taking medication against prostate cancer or heart attacks or any number of other illnesses that haven't even manifested itself in me, just in case I might have it sometime in the future or to prevent it ever occurring. So I went to talk to the doctor about it. I explained my logic. I said I haven't had any blackouts or any kind of symptoms for 8 months at the time I was talking to the doctor. I asked him, why should I even be taking this? And he said, well, if you don't feel like taking it, just don't take it. Sounds like, wow, is it that simple? So I asked him, is it okay if I stop taking it? He said, yes, absolutely fine. Just do not take it if you don't feel it necessary, but the risk is all yours. If anything happens to you, it's all up to you. You are taking the risk of having seizures or accidents or anything. Nothing has ever happened to me during the day, only ever during the night. The only symptom I had was a terrible headache and really sore body ache all over my body. So I thought, why take Keppra? That was my big question. One thing I should mention is you should always have a list of questions that you take with you to the doctor when you meet your GP or consultant or anybody, because when you are sitting there, you will definitely not remember the things that you thought you should ask. So when you are sitting at home thinking about these things, just write them down on a piece of paper, and every time you go to see your doctor, just take this paper with you and then ask the questions. I've actually got a folder full of documents now, and I always take that folder with me to every meeting I have with these different nurses or scanners or etc. And then anything that might come up, I just open the folder and then look through my papers and pick out the relevant document. But anyway, I just wanted to read my logic and my thinking about the epilepsy pill, which I read out to the doctor on the day of our consultation. And at the end of it, he said, yeah, well, look, János, if you don't want to take it, just don't take it. So here it is. What is the medical need for me to take the anti-seizure drug if I'm not having epileptic fits? I am not having fits and never had one that has been proven to be a fit. I am currently symptom-free and I prefer not to drug myself for no reason, especially that I am feeling fine. Does the epilepsy pill have any impact on the tumor itself? What's the point of taking it if, number one, it is not reducing the number of seizures I have, because I have had no proven seizures? They couldn't really explain the medical need for me. I mean, I completely understand. If you have seizures every 5 minutes, clearly you must take it. But me, I am not having any seizures. I have a brain tumor, and they've looked at the, I don't know, maybe the last 10,000 brain tumors. Out of the 10,000 people, maybe 9,999 had seizures, so they said, yep, we are just gonna give everybody seizure pills. Well, I might be that one person that doesn't need the seizure pills. Yet, they prescribed it because they gave it another 9,999. With my logic, I decided I'm not going to be taking it. The doctor told me that's fine, so I stopped taking Keppra about 4 weeks after it was prescribed, and I still have a ton of it in my cupboard, because when it was prescribed I went to the pharmacy and I took out several of those. I got one bag, another box, these, so my cupboard is half full with these medications now, but I decided I'm not going to take any of them. The only medications I will take will be when they operate me, so at that time clearly I'm going to be taking the drugs and I will listen to the doctors. But when me, as a person with some common sense, I thought about it, I have no seizures that I know about. I go about my daily life as usual. Nothing has changed since diagnosis. So my logic is, I don't want to take it, I'm not taking it. They agreed not to take it, so me, I'm not taking it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be taking it. I'm just saying I am not taking it. Well, on another level, I am a little bit against taking drugs when it's not necessary. Say you have fever. You can also just drink tea or chicken broth or anything, lie down in your bed and just sleep it out. Why should you be drugging yourself up with all sorts of different things? And there are other medications that I don't agree with at all. One other thing is that if they know for a fact that with dexamethasone I need to be taking another pill to stop the negative effects of dexamethasone, then why the hell even prescribe it? I just don't understand. You are trying to work on your brain tumor to reduce the swelling, but at the same time you destroy your intestines, bowels and stomach and everything. I mean, what on earth is the whole point of that? Just give me a drug that actually works on my brain but doesn't destroy other parts of my body. Again, I'm not trying to create conspiracy theories here because I'm completely against those, but just using common sense and logic, I decided I'm not going to take these medications. What I'm also saying is, have a piece of paper, write down your questions and any doubts you might have, and discuss it with your doctor. You have every right to ask questions, and they are the experts in all sorts of things, but what you also need to remember is they are not some sort of deity or anything with overreaching powers of everything, sorting out all sorts of problems and knowing the answers to everything. So that is one reason why I went for a second opinion and a third opinion, because you just never know whether that doctor that you are talking to knows everything or cares about you or any number of other things. So when it's a huge decision like this, don't just jump into it, think, and then do the pros and cons, what you would like to do, discuss it with the expert, and then make a decision and stick to it, and then live with your decision. Do not blame others for the decisions you have made yourself. Anyway, what else can I say about the medication? Let me see. Side effects. Yeah, so anyway, that's it in a nutshell. I think I've told you all about my opinion about the medication and everything else. I'm not against taking drugs or medication or anything, and I'm not creating conspiracy theories here. I'm just sharing my experience. And my experience was that there was no need for me to take those medications, and I do not want to be another box ticking exercise. I asked questions and we came to the conclusion that there is no need for me to take these drugs. Again, I repeat, do not just do what I'm saying I have done. You need to ask your own questions and have your own discussions and make your own decisions. Then you will have to live with those decisions. Here I am happy to say I'm not taking any medication and I have taken all the responsibility, and I'm not going to go back to blame other people for this decision. Well, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this episode, please comment underneath whether it is a good comment or bad comment. I do not care. We can just have a discussion freely. Or if you've enjoyed it so much, then just subscribe.